I want to just make some brief introductions here today. Haley is our work study student helping today. She's she just let everybody in. Thank you so much, Haley. She's going to help out. If you have any technical questions, you feel free to message her privately in the chat box. And Lulu, could you introduce yourself to everybody as well?
Yeah, so hey everyone, my name is Lulu Capetta. I'm a current junior at Agnes Scott, majoring in IR and French. And I'm also a CWS tutor. This is my second year tutoring, and I'm here to help you with the resume process, formatting, and to just talk you guys through some of the main core parts that a resume should contain.
Okay, and everybody, I forgot to introduce myself as well, but I think I'm getting familiar, or you're getting familiar with me for some of these workshops. My name is Agnes McIntosh. I am the career coach for the health, sustainability, and sciences community. Welcome everybody. I'm so excited to be here on a Friday afternoon with you guys. So to get started, oh, and we also wanted to say that we will be available, Lulu and I will be available for specific questions about resumes after, we can say, about 15 or 20 minutes. So if you have very specific questions, please save those for later. But if you have questions that can benefit the whole group, feel free to do that throughout our presentation today. So I have a poll to get us started, a very simple one. If you guys could just answer if you guys have a resume or not. I hope it launched correctly. You guys see it? Okay. Do you guys, can you actually, oh, I think it's collecting responses. I'm not sure. I'll keep the poll open for a little bit. Do you guys see the actual poll? Are you guys putting your replies in? Okay. Okay, great. So I'm going to give you 15 more seconds and then I'll end the poll, because I'm not getting the results here. So that's why I just asked. Zoom is such a interesting creature to work with, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to end the poll and see what our results are here. Although, no, it says nobody voted. I think, did everybody put their answer in the chat box?
No, I submitted it.
I used the poll too.
I used the poll.
Okay.
I can see the results.
Yeah, the results.
You can? Who can see the results?
It said like 79% yes, 20-something% no.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that with me, because I am not able to see that. Okay. And it said 79% yes, and how many no?
21.
21.
21. Okay. Oh, that's the math there. Okay. So I'm going to close out that poll, and then I have just a very quick next one here, if I can. It's not letting me advance to the next poll. I'm sorry, someone talking? Okay, I'm sorry, I cannot see the next poll to launch. It's not coming up on my screen for some reason. So we might be getting back to that. But basically, I did, if you could put in your the chat, like, how much work does your resume need? It goes from scale of 1, which is just, you know, just a little bit, and in a scale of 5 to help please. And somewhere in the middle is like somewhat. So Lulu, what is everybody replying here? Three,
I see a
two,
mix of threes and twos
threes and
majority,
twos.
and some ones.
Okay.
Oh, I see a lot of fours. Okay.
Fours.
All fours.
You guys, thank you so much for helping me as I'm going through this technological glitch here. But thank you. I really appreciate it. Okay, so it seems like people are kind of comfortable with it, but maybe maybe a little bit of help. But I'm really pleased that 79% of you guys, close to 80%, do have resumes here. Okay, so without delaying it much more, I'm going to start sharing my screen and start going through the presentation, you guys, if you don't mind. And are you guys seeing the presentation here?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for giving me a thumbs up, Shar. I appreciate that. Okay, like I said, I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. Today we are talking about resumes, and will be like we'll be talking a little bit about some of the science information that you can put in your resume. So before we even get started, I just wanted to ask if anybody's familiar with this book, or Lin-Manuel Miranda collaborated with an illustrator named Johnny Sun, and he actually does a Twitter feed on Good Morning, Good Night, just little like pep talks. And one of the things that I really like about this book is just like very short and sweet little messages to remember to remind yourself. And I thought one was kind of resonated with me for today's workshop. And I don't know if you can read that, but his good morning message is: allow for the possibility that the best of you is still inside you, waiting to emerge. So prepare the way bit by bit. And then when at night, he says, good night, allow for the possibility that the best stuff is still ahead of you, waiting to reveal itself. Prepare the way bit by bit. And so the important part is the bit by bit. And I wanted to just say, you know, your resume is just like what is written here, it's a bit by bit puzzle. You reveal itself, and you're adding layers over time. So it's always a work in progress. And throughout your career, you're going to have many versions of this as you develop in your career. So don't go, you know, don't worry about perfection each time, especially if you're just doing it for the first time, and give yourself that grace to make those changes. And you always have a support network along the way. Okay. So it's not going to the next screen. Let me see. I'm sorry. Okay. Do you see this next one here? Okay. So you guys, tell me, what do you think, what are the different purposes do you think are resumes are used for?
Show your skills in the area.
Yeah. I'm sorry, can you say that?
Show your
skills in an area? Okay. And what else, you guys? What other things do you think it's for?
To show how qualified you are for the position.
Yep, that's great. Any more?
Introduce yourself to the people reading it.
Yep, great. Your audience, that's very important, like whether it's a hiring manager or a professor or a scholarship selection committee. Anyone else before we move on? I think we covered it. Make an impression, that's very good. Yeah, because in a way, your resume is like your written elevator pitch, like all the highlights that you have. So here are some of the things here. It also introduces you to alumni for networking, applications, as you said, for your qualifications, the scholarship programs that are here at Agnes Scott, requests for faculty letters of recommendations, and for special opportunities like leadership programs. Another thing that is coming up and I'm meeting with students about is networking for virtual career fairs. That's one thing. And I would say some other things that you could potentially use your resume for is content for building your LinkedIn profile. It can support your cover letter. And it's really like your elevator pitch, your written one. And it also can support your personal statement when you think later in your maybe junior, senior, when you're thinking about applying to graduate programs, if that's applicable to you. Okay. So this is a known, I don't know if you guys know about this, that the average amount of time that someone, a hiring manager, reviews your resume is less than 10 seconds, 6.25 seconds. And, oh, sorry. And that was the source there. So one of the things, like just in general, when you look at a resume, you want it to be pleasing. You want it to be not cluttered. You want it to have a good format. You want to have a lot of white space if you can. You want to have headlines, your education always starting first, after your name, bullet points with active verbs. We're going to go a little bit into this, and Lulu can explain some of the techniques and strategies that we use. Consistent and error-free. I can't tell you enough. Proofread, 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 and then have someone else proofread for you too. And it meets most of the position requirements. So always going back to that job description or scholarship application or however it reads, you're using kind of keywords from that in your resume when you can. So a lot of you said 79% have resumes, and I didn't really get to ask you if you transitioned it to like a college resume yet, or if it's still high school. But some of the things you might notice in a high school resume is that it has some more information about it has your address, maybe it has your high school courses, list of activities and experiences, of course, and some might say references available upon request, and that's something that's really not needed now. So the focus now is getting you to a one-page college resume that lists Agnes Scott as your education, your GPA, if applicable, and greater than 3.0, that's what we always use as a guideline. But if you, of course, since some of you are in your first semester, Agnes Scott, you may not have a GPA, so it's totally okay to use your high school one right now. So then we're also going to go through the bullet pointing examples and that demonstrate all the wonderful things and that you're doing, and you can and it really celebrates all your accomplishments. Really, that's one thing you want to do too. And it lists measurable hard skills, and we'll get more into those sections in a little bit. So what topics are part of your story? So we talked about education. We talked about your experience, or we are going to be talking about your experience. And I'll let you guys take a few moments to read this through. And if you have any questions right now, feel free to also throw them in the chat box for Lulu. I actually will show you an example of what we will have as a template for your Bio 110 assignment, and we can do that separately. I would say I wonder if I'll take this time to just quickly show you too some of the sections here. Let me see. And as you're thinking about these different sections, you might, one of the tools that you could do is starting a spreadsheet and listing out in the different areas that you want to build out in your resume what you want to include under each section. So do you guys see, sorry, that's your assignment. Here's your CV. That's a CV symbol. I'm sorry, you guys. Wrong thing. Here we go. Oh, that's your, I have too many things named Bio 110, and I'm so sorry for that. Okay, no, that's not what you want to see. I'm actually going to go back to the presentation, and I will have to pull up that template for you after. Sorry about that. Okay.
We have a question in the chat that I think is a good question.
Sure. Okay.
If we are using our high school GPA, should we specify that it's our high school and not college yet?
Yes. And I think you can just put high school GPA, and that's on the template too. And otherwise you would put Agnes Scott GPA. Yeah, good question. Any other questions? Okay. So then, before you actually go into the bullet point, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is some of the key sections for sciences resume, apart from like a standard resume template that we're going to share with you. Because you're going from, basically you're going to be going from your high school resume to your college one, and eventually to a CV for some students who are interested in going into academic careers. And some of the sections that you are going to be keeping track of what your celebrated, experiences are sometimes under your education. You will have, let me show you here. So under your education here, sometimes you will have like your relevant coursework. So that might be included, include putting in your high school relevant coursework for now. And then as you have Agnes Scott courses, like your integrated biology, Bio 110, and then you would add anything else that supports what you want to do, like microbiology, chemistry, or anything in the sciences there. Another thing is you're going to be building out your research section, education, teaching, and some lab skills. And sometimes there's a combination of like research and teaching, and then also your lab skills sometimes are put at the top of your resume, and it depends on what opportunities you're applying for. Something else that you're going to be building out our section is certificates and trainings. You might have like a certified clinical research coordinator certificate or a CCRC, or you also might have a CITI, which is a collaborative institutional training initiative, which is basically research, ethics, and compliance training. And you also either might have CPR or something like phlebotomy, like more specific to clinical work. Another section you're going to have is like presentations and publications as you grow that. And think about professional associations and memberships, like which ones you would be part of, and that would be part of maybe a tab that you put in your spreadsheet. And then also honors and awards. And I'm so sorry I couldn't show that to you on the screen, but I hope you get the gist of what you're building towards. So Lula, would you like to give them some examples of the content that would be in the resume, including the bullet points?
Yeah, so I can walk through these couple slides talking about probably what is a very important section of the resume, and that really helps you kind of highlight the skills and achievements most relevant and transferable to the position that you are seeking. And these are going to be the bullet points listing from each experience that you have. And one way that you can structure each of your bullet points is by using this method we call SAR. So that's an acronym I'll quickly talk to you guys about. So you have S, which stands for situation, which is basically you are summarizing the nature of the problem or just the job that you faced and the goal you were after. And you provide context for the accomplishment. So in the example up here, we have situation, selected by interview to contact alumni. And this is if you were selected to be one of the callers at Agnes Scott to phone alumni for donations or any other event we have on campus. So this is a good situation of just like a quick summary of like what the position entailed. And then you would also describe the action, which is the A. So the action is when you're telling the reader what you did, what skills and expertise did you demonstrate. And with this part, you definitely want to lead with really strong action verbs. And that's like a very critical point of the bullet points. In one of the resume career guides on the website for the Office of Internship and Career Development, you're going to see like a huge list of these verbs that will be helpful to really kind of strengthen these bullet points. So like provided, generated, selected, those are really strong verbs that you really want to lead with. And for action, like this example right here, it says provide conversational updates via phone and ask for donation to college. Pretty short and sweet and simple. And also gives the reader a gist of the actions that you did in this position. And then the most important part is results. And that's the R of the SAR method. And with this, you want to present a result or impact upon an organization or department that you were in, or as often as possible. You can also use these bullets to quantify impact, or you can also qualify. By quantify, you can list a specific amount, which is like you design new processes that improved efficiency by 10%, enabling employees to dedicate this time to other projects. Or you can also qualify it. Like if you count specific amounts, elaborate by sharing more details. Like this one right here, this example, which says, generated positive feelings about Agnes Scott College and met fundraising goal. If you don't have to list a specific number by that amount, but this also shows that you actually had actual results to this position, you delivered on certain things, and it also tells your employer some skills that you gained in this position, which you really want to do. You don't want to really tell people that you have communication skills or you have these kind of like really soft skills. You want to show them through these examples and illustrate a picture of what you did in this position. Can you go to the next slide, Agnes? Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait, can you go before that to the PAR? Yeah, I just want to quickly go over this. So similar to SAR, which is situation action result, you can also use problem action result, PAR. And this is also a really great tactic if you are describing a research experience that you did, or internship where you were presented with a problem and after that you then you took actions to produce some results. So let's look at this example right here. The problem, research, results were not consistent. Action, collaborated with lab partner to trace each step of experiment, set up and lab experience to identify possible errors in protocol. And the result was identify misstep in experiment. Design was impacting results. This is a very good example because it kind of concisely tells the interviewer, tells your employer, and also it can also generate some discussion if you're ever in an interview and your employer looks at your resume. That's definitely a stepping stone for you to elaborate this further in an interview, and it kind of just helps you kind of really give a concise look at each of your experiences. And what I would definitely do, especially what I do on my resume, that I would rank my bullet points from most important to least important, and I would really try to, and I would try not to focus on what is more important and relevant in your current job, but rather focus on what will be viewed as most important and more relevant in your next job. You want to really curate your resume to really be fit for that position. So they're really looking for a very strong collaborator, like team member that's able to, or like even looking for someone with very like distinct hard skills for that position. You want your resume to reflect that and be able to show your employer through this one page. Like, it might be very difficult, but we're here to help, no problem. Just to kind of really highlight the really important parts of your experiences and the skills that you're able to bring to that position. Can you go to the next slide, Agnes?
Sorry, it's being glitchy again.
Oh, Zoom.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So these are just some other examples that I can go through with all you guys of just some really good examples of like how the STAR method is used. So let's look at the first one, and also notice how all of these have really good, strong action verbs that really articulate very important skills like communication, creativity, leadership, marketability, and all those verbs are listed in one of the career guides that we'll give you. So you'll have all of them to really refer to and really think about when you're crafting your resume. So the first example is recruited members for new club designed to motivate women to explore technology careers. That sounds a little bit like situation. So you're kind of really talking about, and also you're also diving into action a little bit here. We're kind of talking about the actions that you took in the situation that you were in this position. And the next example is created robust meeting activities and social media presence to engage and boost student participation by 20%. Whenever you can, you always want to either quantify if you have like really specific like data that you want to present to show that you made a really positive impact on the department internship that you did in the experience, but also just know you can also qualify it as well. It doesn't have to always be like just a specific number, like the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, the fifth example right here, provide excellent customer service and fast food service environment with great attention to detail and positive attitude. That is a great kind of way. Like if you worked, like I know for me, I worked a lot of secretarial jobs before I worked in like the internships that I have now that really pertain to what I want to do in my life. But for a lot of my secretarial jobs, I would provide a statement like this to really show that I gained a lot of skills from this position. Like maybe just like I was able to work in a very fast-paced environment, or I was able to really communicate with my advisors or supervisors effectively on projects in a very just fat in a really like productive manner. So, and every experience is a good experience. So definitely we can definitely like help you kind of formulate those bullet points for some experiences that you may just have some questions about and you don't know how to make it concise enough. Trust me, I've definitely been there. We can definitely help you kind of work it out so you really kind of are not really taking up a lot of space in your resume, because it's definitely the bulk of like what your resume is going to be like. And I would recommend to at least have 2 bullet points for each experience that you have, but at most 3. So you at least want to have at least 2, at most 3. You don't want to have a lot of bullet points describing each of your experiences, because you only have 1 page as well, and you don't really want to go overboard with it a lot. But you can definitely go in detail of those really important experiences that you had, most definitely. Okay, I think I finished there.
Yeah, Lulu, those are really great. Well, the examples and then all the reasoning behind each. Thank you so much. And I really wanted to point out some of the things Lulu mentioned was like those transferable skills. Does everyone know what transferable skills are? You can put it in the chat, which I can't see, but Lulu, if you could read out some examples of transferable skills.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. And these are really things that kind of cut across what you learn in classes, but also like cut across industries when you're really working. Do you see any that you want to read out, or
I don't see any yet.
Well, let me get us started, because some of the things that you see here in the bullet points, like recruited members, that's like a communication skill, right? Like communication skills are very transferable. It doesn't matter where you're working for that, whether you're in the sciences or working at a like a social marketing firm, that's where they lead with, right? Another thing is project management. That's another transferable skill that you don't think you have project management skills, but everything is a project. You're managing projects. Is someone saying something? Someone give an example?
You can put in the chat as well.
Yeah, you can. Yes.
We have 2 in the chat.
Okay, what does it say?
So one person says critical thinking analysis,
Yep,
skills
great.
used in multiple disciplines. Oh yes, most definitely.
Yep.
I would say a lot of
Yep.
these transferable skills, such as like soft skills such as like creativity, marketing, leadership's kind of broad, but if you're able to lead a team, like team building kind of activities, and also for critical thinking analysis, that can definitely be a wonderful skill, especially when you're doing research, describing research or internships that you've done that really require a lot of that kind of thinking to be involved. That's definitely one of them.
Yeah, and it's so hard sometimes to translate into like bullet points, but the hiring manager will be so familiar with reading these. They can tell, like I can tell the first one's communications, also read and summarize list of journals. Those are critical thinking type skills that you need. And then identify, annotate, same things, research type skills there, and excellent customer service. That can be a leadership. That's that's a communication. Okay, so I think this leads us to, hopefully if it advances to the next screen, I just have to press it a couple times.
Oh, we have one question. I know this is irrelevant right now, but will there be recording or PowerPoint to help with the resume? Yeah, this whole session is being recorded right now. And also, there's also career guides on is it on the new AAC website, by the way? Because I know we changed the website.
The what?
The career guides and resume templates.
Yes, and actually that is something, actually, I'm glad you asked that, because I'm going to go over a few of the things now, but Dr. Larimore has all that information. She is uploading it to Canvas as we speak right now, including your instructions for the assignment. There's going to be a Word template for you so that you can use that to build it. Just make sure that you follow the criteria. There are deadlines there, and there are a couple incentives to get your things in early so that we don't get all the resumes all at once, including like gift cards, a $25 gift card for a certain date. I believe that's September 27th. It's all there. And then also a $10 gift card. And these are including your first drafts. So I wanted to point that out. I was going to go over some of the instructions here too. Okay. So we do hope that you guys get excited about this. I know resumes can be, I think, just dry in general, and it's hard to get motivated sometimes because you want to do it perfectly at first, but know that it is a living and breathing document that you put together your things, and with help too. And it's just experience. You'll get, more familiar with it as you do it more often. Okay. So, but one of the first key things about it is that as much as we do honor creativity in everybody, we do ask that it be a standard traditional resume. And we only ask this because when you are uploading applications, your resume for applications online, it is being read by an artificial intelligence, like some sort of like platform. And so they're pulling out keywords from your resume that matches job description keywords. And so that's why we ask for that. So no color, do it in black and white. So no images, same thing. They're not being read by these hiring portals that you upload your information in. Clear font, no less than 10-point size, use same style throughout. And here's the thing, when Lulu kind of implied that as you get, you want to do 3 bullet points, but as you get more and more experiences, you're going to be doing 2 or 1 sometimes. And you will be able to have some leeway where it's like a 10-point size all the way to 12 points. So if you need like filler space right now as you're building it, you use the bigger font. Then you start getting smaller. No personal pronouns, and you'll see this as you see like the verb list that we are going to be sharing with you, and it's part of your, we have the instructions for your assignment. We're going to have a resume guide, and then we're going to have a template that you can actually make your changes, make copies and make your changes on. And we do ask that you do your final version of your resume for this assignment in a PDF to upload. And honestly, that's actually a very good, just a rule of thumb. Whenever you're finished with something, save it as a PDF, because, if you Word document or anything else, people will be able to see track changes. And that's something that you don't want to come up, especially if you're applying for like a scholarship or something, and that, they're really looking at it. So one of the other things is like, it has at least 3 section headings: education, experience, community involvement, and leadership. But honestly, I have seen and reviewed so many different resumes. Sometimes it's stylistic choices, and sometimes it depends on how much you have in each section. Like I was implying, like sometimes it'll say like community involvement and leadership. Sometimes it's, Lulu, can you think of some other things that there's a combination sometimes? Sometimes there's like research projects, or there's teaching. You have some flexibility in that, and to see what makes sense. And when in doubt, that's when you would probably meet with a CWS tutor or a career peer in our office to help, or meet with one of the career coaches. So then also, items in each section of the resume is listed from your most to least recent. So you always do that. It's a chronological resume, is the traditional one. Bullets starting with verbs that describe how you contributed to a job, club, or team. And then we're going to be sharing a resume guide with you. Make sure you follow the margins, the guidelines here, to 1 page with margins no less than 0.8 inches all the way around. And again, no typos, misspellings, or inaccurate information. Okay, and I do want to say, at this point, I'm going to take the time to talk a little bit about is there a question? Does someone have a question? You can raise your hand and we can call on you if you want, or put it in the chat. Okay, I just want to go through like a handful of like common mistakes that I see as we're reviewing some resumes, more than one page. At this point in your career, you just need a one-page resume. And because it reflects back to how long a person actually gives your resume attention. Typos, I see typos. Do a grammar check, do proofread, and do a spell check. Sometimes the grammar check will work because you're sometimes not working in all full sentences, and we'll explain what we mean by the example we have. So a lot of times through the bullet points, I see periods at the end. If you do that and it makes sense, make sure you do that consistently throughout your resume. Sometimes people do periods at the end of bullet points sometimes, and sometimes not. And so be consistent. Another thing is the verbs, using past tense if an experience has already happened. Making sure that you use only if it's a present experience, that you use a present verb. Make sure you use the same font throughout, and you do have some variability in the font size, right, Lulu? Like in terms of your name can be a little bit bigger, but everything else you'll see in the template that we share with you. And then also final version saved as PDF. And that is it. And then we, I'm trying to advance my screen here. One of the things that we also are, sorry, it's not, okay. Oh, you guys, that's too early. That's my cat, and that was supposed to be the end of it. Sorry about that. Okay, I am going to, I want to go over a different thing here. So please bear with me as I put this in. So this is the template. Can you guys see that here? So this is what is going to be shared with you that you're going to be able to edit. So as we were talking about, there's the education section here, your global journeys. I know some students here are not in their first year. There are a couple upperclassmen in your class. So you could put that, that's optional. So it's highlighted there. Here, the name of your high school here and your relevant coursework from your high school. But once you have more experiences and your high school information is off, then you can put your relevant coursework for Agnes Scott. For instance, after the semester, you can put integrated biology and all the other classes that are relevant to your resume here. And this just goes a little bit more. We just talked about this, and I'm sorry, I should have had this up when I was telling you a little bit about some common mistakes and things to include. So you'll see there's a work experience, and sometimes people just put experience and not put the word work there. Sometimes I see it as professional experience. That's a stylistic thing. I think it's fine just to put experience. And then there's some examples for you there, and including like your month and year, everything here. Campus and community involvement. Sometimes I see that as community involvement in leadership as a section. And then also here are the skills that I wanted to point out here. You can remove and add the skills as applicable. Some of the lab skills, I spoke to Dr. Singleton, and she mentioned one of the things that you're going to learn later in your lab, and she said it might be like around lab 6. You might be learning experimental design and animal behavior analysis, so you feel free to include that there. As you build up your CV, that's the section that's going to get bigger, and I'll show you a template, and that's on our Office of Internship and Career Development site, that there's a CV example. And I know Dr. Larimore actually has a document in Canvas that really explains well the difference between a resume and a CV. And the basic difference is that your resume is more about your academic experiences and your projects versus your work experience, although you do include some of your work experience in your CV. But they are for different audiences and different opportunities. So here's your digital skills as you gain those. And then even doing your digital portfolio at Agnes Scott is something that you can include here too. But no links, don't include any links here. The place to put it is in LinkedIn or another. So also language skills here. This is an example of how to list it, okay? And so I do also want to point out this. So we were talking about high school transition to college resume, and then this is an example that is on our, and I can throw this in the chat box for you guys too. This is from our website, and I'll share that with you guys a little bit later. But see, as you are building up your resume, this is what your CV might start looking like. See your lab skills, putting it up front here. So no need to write any of this down. This is on our site, okay? And you might be gaining different lab skills. See, your research experience is going to take front and center as you build out your science work. And also your presentation and publications. There's actually no limit to the page limit for your CV. I actually have worked with a neighbor friend who works at the CDC, and she was in academia. Hers was 20+ pages, and we actually had to work backwards to get it to a resume, and that took some work to do. So, and then if those are you on the Zoom meeting today, they're interested in working for the CDC or like a government job, USA jobs, same thing, there's no limit to that type of government resume as you build that out. Because they have a specific hiring portal that you are submitting your resume to. So, okay, here's leadership, professional associations, and honors awards and other skills and certifications. I've also seen people do their certifications up at the top underneath their lab skills or underneath their education. So there is a little bit of wiggle room for when you build out your information there, okay? So let me see, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. No, actually, one more thing. This is important. You guys are going to want to know what your instructions are for, right? I just want to give you an overview, and this is going to be added to your Canvas site. So basically, after you work, after you build your resume, and if you need help or anything, we're going to put up on our last slide how you can contact tutors, wonderful tutors like Lulu at the Center for Writing and Speaking, as well as our career peers who are part of the Office of Internship and Career Development. Okay, so basically one page, you guys can see it. Look, here it is. I'm highlighting $25 gift card. You see the date, September 27th by midnight. And then the second early deadline is by October 4th, midnight. But see that disqualifier, you will not qualify for this gift card if you do not follow the pro tips and rubric listed below. And please remember to, since we're reviewing so many resumes, it would really be helpful if you name it the right way, use the right nomenclature for us, okay? So your final resume, the last deadline is October 30th, and all of this will be conveyed to you through Canvas. So we will give you the CV, we'll give you the resume guide and also the Word template to work from. And just be careful, it gets a little wonky with formatting sometimes, so just make sure that you're keeping track of that. Upload your resume, you're gonna be uploading it into Canvas. And up here, this is where Dr. Larimore says it's gonna be under your career homework module on the module page, excuse me. And here's some of the rubrics. These are the same things that we kind of just went over. And then for any questions or in-person reviews, make an appointment with a career peer. And there's going to be a link out there. And career coaches and career peers monitor a Zoom like Monday through Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. walk-in hours. And we have a Zoom link here for you guys, okay? So if anybody has any questions right now, I'm going to do the helpful here, and then I will share my picture of my cat. Okay, at the very end. Sorry, she surprised us all early there. Okay.
We have one question in the
So,
chat that I think
sure.
is
What
really
is that?
good. So
Okay.
some of us have LDR 101 on our resumes from last year. Would we be able to remove that to include the relevant coursework section?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think so. Yeah, and that really is not part of the rubric. Um, we leave that to your discretion. That and the global journeys. And some of you might have resume templates where you actually have, you know, in the sections, like it's separated by like a line across. You can take that out. That's like prime real estate. When in doubt, I always go for like the cleaner look. And so the resume template that's shared, that's going to be shared with you guys, does not have like that bar that separates each section there. Okay. Are there any other general questions? So, Lulu, do you want to let them know how they can contact us?
Yeah.
And you guys?
Yeah. So like Agnes said, the Office of Internship and Career Development has walk-in hours weekly, Monday to Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. And that's in the sheets with the Zoom link to be able to go and meet with the career peers and coaches for quick appointments or just last minute questions. And also for the Center for Writing and Speaking, we have walk-in hours every Monday night, 7 to 10 p.m. for quick 15-minute appointments. I will send Agnes the link so she can put it on the doc so you guys can have that, or I can also put it in the chat here. And also to book any appointments with any of our regular CWS tutors and with the career peers that we have that are specifically here for resume checks, personal statements, cover letters, anything what you need for any job or internship that you're applying for, you can also reach them through our website as well. We are open 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, Sunday to Fridays. So, and you can also book appointment at cws.agnescott.edu. So please don't be shy and come visit us whenever.
And honestly, everybody, for those, you know, if you want to be eligible for the gift card, you have a couple weekends to work on it. And it would be very, very helpful for us so that we don't get all the resumes at one time. It would be, and it would be a win-win because you would be eligible for a gift card there too.
Yeah, so we have a question in the chat. If we are first years and don't have much experience in college yet, should we include volunteer work experience from high school?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, add that into your community involvement and leadership. And one of the things that you'll see like on the resume template, you guys, there is some sort of flexibility. Like there's a section where it could be called academic projects if you're working on it, or specifically for Bio 110 science projects. And you can list one of the, I'm told you guys are working on like 3 mini projects. That's where you can build that out too. And I know that Dr. Larimore on her syllabus included some like NACI competencies, like things that are like those transferable skills. So then you can think about like, what are you learning in the classroom that can translate into some of those bullet points? And that's like your first part of like project management too, like what you're doing. Are there any other questions?
Yes. So is there any way for us to see the template? So
Yep.
So is there like a link we can drop in the chat?
Yeah, and I actually, how about, because it's actually going to be in Canvas for you, like at 4 p.m., like in 9 minutes. If you could then grab it from there. Because it's in a Word document right now. So, but let me know if anybody has any problems working with that. We might be able to do like a Google doc, maybe share like a editable link. Anything else?
Will it be on our Bio 110 Canvas course?
Yes, it is. It's going to be called like I think like the resume review assignment.
If someone has never had a job, what would you suggest to include in the work experience section?
And it could be, I would just not put work experience. I would just put experience. And then I would put that like your volunteer experiences or anything else that you've done there. What do you think, Lulu? What would your suggestion be too?
I would say, because I know the resume structure is really flexible, if you have any volunteer or campus involvement experiences particularly, you can just maybe just exit, like cut the work section experience out completely and just focus on that. And then when you later get work job, like professional experience, like an internship or just an actual like real job, then you can add that section in. Um, yeah, that's what I would say. Or you can just do that same thing, just say experience and just let that be just collectively, and you can organize it later to specify.
Yeah. That's a really great response, Lulu. Yeah, just put experiences. That's the catch-all for everything. So yeah, and then community involvement or like leadership. And what you would do is sometimes you'll start calling it one section, and then you'll see like one is way more, you know, you're adding a lot more bullet points in one, and then you're like, you know what, it makes more sense if I call this research or teaching, or, you know, if you have more experiences in one area.
Yeah. So any other questions, comments, concerns?
Do I get to use my last slide here?
Maybe.
If it comes up. I'm so, you guys, I'm so sorry about these technical glitches. Okay, this is to go, and she's wishing you a Catterday is almost here. Happy Catterday soon. Oh, sorry. It's Friday afternoon, you guys. I know. Thank you so much for attending today. I know it wasn't something you probably were excited about attending on a Friday afternoon, but I really appreciate you guys joining us.
Yeah, so we will be sticking around for 15 minutes. And just if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns, or just kind of wants one-on-one kind of assistance on the resume, then you can definitely stick around and chat with us as need be. But yeah.
I'm just
anything you want to add?
Yeah. There.
I have a question.
You could, sure.
So, work study experiences would be like a good thing to put under work experience, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Especially if you have a work study job here at Agnes, I would definitely put that in.
Okay. And I also have a question about like community involvement, because I hadn't been able to like really get involved in stuff as much as I would have like wanted to last year. So is it okay if I still use stuff that I did when I was in high school?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the same boat you were in as well. I didn't have a lot of experiences coming into college that I could really refer to in my resume. So I definitely put like 3 main like campus or just like community involvement that I did in my high school time. And then later on I removed it when I started to get more involved in campus or just start to do more things that I like, internships and other jobs. So yeah, most definitely.
Thank you.
That's really great. And think of them as placeholders, right? I really, one of the things, I don't want you guys to be stressed about it. That's why I wanted to start off with Lin-Manuel Miranda's thing. It's like, really, it's bit by bit. We didn't all come out of high school straight with like a perfect resume. I'm still working on mine. And just think of it as like a launching pad, and also content for other things like LinkedIn or, you know, any things that you can build off, cover letters, things, okay? And the other thing I want you to remember is all resumes are unique to yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. You're going to have your own experiences, whether they are, you know, volunteer experiences, work experiences, internships. You're going to have something totally different from your neighbor, from your peers, from your colleagues at work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
No problem. Any other questions, guys? Thanks for coming.
Yeah.